Welcome everyone. This is Evelyn and I have a lot of stuff to bring you today. I have the read on the table. I have a message of the day. I might have a second message of the day as well as the messages. A lot of messages were coming through, a lot of different words coming through with significant meaning. I was just meditating for you guys, so I'm going to bring that to you as well. I'm going to do yesterday and today's messages first, and then I'm going back to the 15th to bring you up to date. And we'll get right into it. Okay, I hope everyone's doing well. Go ahead and take a few deep breaths. I'm going to pull a card first, and we'll roll the die first, okay? And then we'll get into everything. Let's see here. I wanted to pull a card from the Ascension deck too, to bring up whatever energy we're dealing with right now. What is the energy we're dealing with right now? Who wants to come through? Of course, as I have already cleared prior to this video, any guides, angels, and masters who want to come through for the best and highest good of all those concerned are welcome. I'm dealing very heavily with Sophia energy. All right, so who wants to come through right now? Is there a specific message? We have Hilarion coming through. Number 46 is the Six of Cups, the innocence of the children. And Hilarion says, Hilarion is from Saturn and steps down his energy through the temple of truth over Crete. And actually, Saturn just came up for me in my messages a little while ago. He is negotiator for Earth on the Council of Saturn and helps us remain connected to our spiritual journey. And I always think of hilarious when I see Hilarion, so laughter is definitely coming up. A master of the orange fifth ray of technology, and that also is coming through today, of science, truth, and knowledge. He invites you to open your mind so that he can drop seeds for new ideas into your consciousness. He assists those who are ready to become higher channels and clairvoyants. Your guidance is to sit quietly and ask him to help you be all that you can be. And I'm getting big connection right now. I open myself to the wisdom and guidance of Hilarion. And the animals want to come through here too with number 2, which is the divine feminine and the high priestess energy, higher self. And it's to honor and respect all animals. As Teddy just got home from the doggy spa, he's all excited. So these two came up, and then Kuan Yin's at the bottom, which also came up for me earlier when I pulled. So definitely Kuan Yin, the 12th ray, is coming in here of unconditional love and empowering feminine energy, which is why Sophia was coming up again for you specifically for today. To give your permission to go with the flow and share with everyone for the highest good. This will subtly affect your stellar gateway chakra and build the Antakarana bridge to source. I act from my divine feminine wisdom. So again, very much radiating that vibrant cerise pink light of divine feminine energy, love, and compassion. So Kuan Yin over here. And then we have Hilarion and animals that came out. So she's like hovering over watching us. And she's very playful. And a lot about the polarity of youth and innocence, and then the elderly and wisdom were coming up as well today. So let's see what the die have for us. And the H and the A of the animals is standing out to me. Ha! So again, there's that laughter coming up. So what do we have from the die today for my viewers? Okay, we have the Mercury energy, and Mercury is going to come up today as well. So Mercury is all about Virgo and communications, and of course being the messenger of God energy. We have the Libra symbol, which we're in Libra now, Sun, but this also came up in alchemy today, which was very interesting, so we'll hit upon that as well. So of course Libra is all about balance, and then we have the number 9, which is the Hermit and Virgo, which I just talked about, and then again, Hermes and Mercury are all coming up here with the Hermit here. So Virgo and Libra are definitely in the spotlight right here, as that is the center point of the astrological chart, which then bridges through to the end and the beginning, which is Pisces to Aries. And we also have Gemini coming up with Mercury as well, which is the lovers and the twin energy. So yes, some very interesting energy. And look, it's coming in the middle. I didn't do that on purpose, but it's bridging the two sides, the two forms of the alchemist I'm getting, of the Hermit and Mercury, which we'll get into Mercury too. Mercury, Hermes, and the Hermit all are coming up significantly in today's and yesterday's messages. So when I was just meditating for you, I was getting the butterfly, which I posted a butterfly post on my Instagram and my TikTok. I'm trying to put them on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and it's my Twin Flame page on Facebook, not my personal page. And then on Facebook, I just put the video because there's not usually a big space for the messages there, so it's better to watch it on the other platforms. But what I just posted was again evolve, so love backward and forward. But this time, and you should definitely watch it because I present it in a slightly different way. But as you can see, as you put evolve together, evolve, and as you condense it together and then flip it again, it becomes the butterfly down here. Okay, so one of the first things I saw when I was meditating was the butterfly. And again, that energy of transformation, if you're going into a lower vibration, reminding yourself to see the butterfly, because that reminds you to transform your energy. Then I was also seeing a toothbrush. And it was like, but it wasn't like brushing teeth, it was like tapping me. Like it was bringing in the energy of brushing your skin for circulation, but again the gentleness of a toothbrush, right? We always get the softest toothbrush. That soft touch is coming up with the butterfly and the butterfly lashes. And then I was seeing a bug, and it looked like it had wings, like it was, I think they were showing me a bug with wings to show me the lightness of it, and they were literally giving a massage. They were with all of their legs, their little legs, they were running up and down the spine, giving a massage. And like that energy of pins and needles, something very light, that light touch was coming up. So that's the energy that was coming up. And then I literally got the term or the phrase high vibrational patterning. Okay, and soft touch obviously was coming up. And that could mean other things to you guys as well. So take it as it comes to you. All right, so we go back to the 22nd yesterday, and we'll do yesterday and today's notes real quickly. Very significant stuff came through for me today regarding Mary's bath, and that would have to do with the med beds and stuff like that. So very significant. And again, pulling in scientific information, and that again parallels with Hilarion coming up with the 5th ray. So we have the 5th ray and the 12th ray coming up, which is the 5 is the Hierophant, the master of the hidden house, and 12 is the hanging man, right? The one of wisdom, seeing new perspectives in another way. So yesterday, when I woke up, I literally I keep waking up now to either a certain situation or a word. And on the 22nd, yesterday morning, I woke up to the word proclivity, which is not a word I would ever use. And proclivity means prone to. Okay, something that you would likely lean towards. So when I first pulled cards yesterday morning, Thoth came out. So again, Thoth is parallel to Hermes, which is again her Mercury and the Hermit. Okay. So the Thoth card is number 31 in this deck. I think it's 31 there. And again, it talks about, that's the deck I just used, and it talks about Hermes coming to South America, and the Incas, and of course Mercury and Hermes were coming up. And then the first card out was Kuan Yin again. And whenever I think of Thoth, I also think of my father, because he always described his beliefs as the same thing as this card describes, about all of your cells in different parts of your life working together to create that harmony, right? That orchestra of harmony. And So then Kuan Yin came out, which is number 43, which is the Three of Cups of coming together in joy, and the 12th ray of unconditional love, of divine feminine wisdom and healing abilities, which is the card I just read to you about Kuan Yin. And then the elk and the otter came out, and it was really funny. I've been dealing a lot with the cats. There's cats that I think belong to my neighbor, but they're not really taking care of them. I don't know, but I know their cats kept having kittens, and they weren't really watching out for them. So I've been feeding these 3 cats, and Teddy's developing a relationship with them from across his little doggy fence. So keeping that in mind. So as I was processing the information from the cards I was pulling yesterday morning, the energy of youthful energy of sharing and being playful was coming up, and Leo energy was coming up as well regarding the child. And the human sharer, the child who shares naturally all of their feelings, not just some of them. And then the love life came up with 43 in Kuan Yin, and the joy of the divine feminine, dancing as a child in the magic of one for all and all for one. And this is coming up as all and all, coming up as allowing L, right? Not just the L could represent Elohim, it could represent Enlil, it can represent the left, right? So allowing not just one way, but the other way, right? One for all and all for one, allowing the L, which is also the quarter, right? It's the 90-degree angle, which will come up again today. It's also the graph, right, of the X and Y at a 90-degree angle. The lambda of the L is the lambda father leap. And the sailboat was coming up here, the shape of the ice cream cone, right? The ice cream cone would be the other way, right, of a sailboat. And then the L also was coming up as the creation off to the left at the right angle in a square with Father, needing the R, which is for me is the open house, to bring creation back to the center. And then the word love was coming up to break down, which notice that love in simple numbers is 18, which is Chi. And then also in its actual numerology of L being 12 as opposed to 3, it adds up to 54, which is the Page of Swords, which is the Mercurial messenger. Okay? So love comes up as lambda of the L. And then the 0 is the human embodiment of Source. As 2 embodies Source. The third letter is the V of creation, like the mother. And then the 4th letter, E, is of the energy temple that's equal and congruent. The balanced home of the rolling stone. Remember, rolling stone. Stone is path of 1, ST1. Taking the home on the road. And then ing of the rolling stone was coming up, right? Roll or row 11, and then ing. And ing means in the process of, or the water meadow. Like I said, it's been coming up with multiple definitions. The water and the house. The tooth also comes up with that definition, ing, but also means to wobble and swing in the water meadow, which is mud basically. The water and the house, and in the process of in or going in, and the ink of recording something or speaking it. It also means ingi, which is a meridian, or to sheathe or cover. Big, large, a lot, many, and again the rolling stone. ROLL or 11, ing or in God, rowing or row deer, aligning in God, or process of wobble and swing, or house by the water, with lots of teeth, or a sheath covered in smiles. So this energy of with lots of teeth, or just covered in smiles. And again, sheathed has to do with covered, right? Covered in smiles. And again, it was coming up as the path of one stone is street one, or one rolling stone court, circle, or square. Love being number 18, or the Page of Swords, 54, Messenger Hermes, and evolving, which adds up to, with one L adds up to 33.6, but then with two L's adds up to 36. So love of 18 and the moon, and then raised to the 54/9, which is the Page of Swords, that little light of mine, where you evolve in all different ways, in all different perspectives. And then this led into the Instagram post that I did of evolve love into the butterfly. So again, evolve to love in transformation like the butterfly. Okay, so then I went on to discover more about proclivity and why it came up that morning, which means, like I said, someone who's prone to or inclined to. And prone means face down. And I looked up PROC as well as LIVI, and of course TY is thank you and gratitude, but it also means the tide and drink, you, thou, seed, to turn to. R2 of Y in some kind of equation, and then you're in thy chest enclosure, ancient, to make friends, bless, the number 10, and den, and to have and to hold, all coming up under proclivity. So I had pulled some cards from the Inner Child deck, and the underlying energy was the 35 of the Wounded Warrior, that there is hope ahead. And I just actually had my birthday and I changed into a 35 year, which is the Wounded Warrior and surrendering. The first card out was the 41 of you can do hard things, and then 22 of let it come forth, 44 that you know the way, the 5 of being true to who you are, and then the 36 that today is the day, time to begin the journey. The 35 year of inspecting the bridge. And then and that was at 1:30, and then at 1:48, which in gematria is miracle, to unstitch the voice or kneecap and cause a special event to occur. Ancient blessings, open house number 2 of Y, a seed to turn to, destined den, to have and to hold with gratitude. Proclivity or proclivity also is coming up, which is a pneuma. And pneuma is breath and sign, representing two notes, musical notes, descending. So it was coming up as positive 2 notes descending with gratitude, down on one knee, to turn to and bless. When one is used to climbing uphill, you're inclined to lean forward. But when you peak at that hill, then you would tend to fall on your face because you're leaning forward. The shadow depression at the base of the skull that slopes obliquely backward. So again, learning to lean back as well to balance yourself out. And the percent of voice that's ancient also came up in the definition of proclivity. Positive to ascend, climb, rise, and split and separate with gratitude, right? Both sides. The pro or the positive, to adhere, stick to the tide, the seed, you, ancient enclosure, to have and to hold with gratitude. Housing the rock, the whispering bench, co-creating gratitude and giving thanks. A place to live where you tell each other your secrets, co-create, make friends, and have and to hold. And you are, again, inclined toward this. The family-oriented, always returning home, even if they have to fall down the hill. And then Jack and Jill came up at 2:22, which is the guidance counselor's show, with guidance to all. Take a sled with you for the other side. And then Sophia led came up there. The energy of the 35-year wounded warrior surrenders to love self, spiritual love, and new love with an open heart and leap of faith to let it come forth. And the number 4 was coming up there, as in the 4th quarter. Grounding and integrating her harvest, committed to freedom and fun and change, fully you, as the 10 of Wands or Atlas, today is the day, her harvest and his energy work, with map of intent of 44 and 36, which they're my cards. 44 is Hercules and 36 is Atlas in the tarot deck for me. The 4 of Cups and the 10 of Wands. And the 2 together equals 80, which is your destiny to dance with your dream and source. Allow love from the Fool in the 5D station and taking time to ground and integrate before more change. Be you, master of the hidden house, with Atlas intent 369 to carry energetics and Hercules or Hercules, her harvesting of emotions. Under the magic bridge, etherically seen, with you sails above the clouds, knowing your ship's coming in, commanding presence in the woods as the butterfly fingers and butterfly lady were coming up with open heart and harvest, riding moose to show them the way to giant humanoid talking tree that not everyone sees, but you know the way, the sparkly unicorn in the clouds that you are, back to the ground with butterfly and baby giraffe and ladybug, at the Y in the road, under the rainbow arc, following the golden path of one, the golden rock or golden stone, or the yellow brick road. Yellow. So the yellow brick road was coming up as yellow, as instead of hello, yellow. And then brick road was coming up as Scooby-Doo, who says rut-row, right? So he doesn't, we took out the R's here. And instead of brick road, it was coming up as be-ick-ode. And the way that was coming up, first when I looked it up in Wikipedia, or excuse me, Wiktionary, bicoastal came up, that word, but it was coming up ultimately as yellow, B-I-C code, which is the inner child. It could be ice cream if you want, and it can be other things too, like informed consent. But it's coming up as to be, and remember the capital B is B, but also 13, which is not to be, the inner child code, disposable lighter code, the by-C code, right? The C is the bridge, the whispering bench, the leap, the arc, the 2 sides and leaping from point to point, 2 sides and by-C code, the twin bridges code, and KOAD also means the wood, the forest, and the pasture, and the wasteland. Yellow, 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 the twin bridges of the forest, or out to pasture, in the woods. 2 leaps, be the inner child of the forest, crossing bridges to grandmother's house, the codes of the ancient forest, and spirits connecting with me big. So the ancient forests are coming up big, and the ancient forest came up in a channeled message that I was listening to about how that is the most connected you can be, is to stand in the ancient forests. So, and that you don't have to visit them, but you can also place your intention there in meditation. So then all the ancient forests came up. So I had looked up all the old forests, and you can check that out as well. So, and I also did Matthias Stefano's meditation in the Yucatan yesterday with him online. He was there in person with a big group. Matthias Di Stefano. And after that meditation, which was really good for me, I was going back to mana again. So when I did vitality, the mother came through me, and the last messages that were coming through, she kept saying the mana joya, and mana was coming through in different ways. So it definitely was the energy of her miraculous children, because I felt it. I know that that's what she was trying to communicate. But she was saying mana in different ways. She said da mana, she said la mana, and she said nam mana. So for whatever reason, I was taken back to mana, and mnemonics came up, which pneumo is memory. So the memory of joy, the jewel, the treasure that you are, the graceful object, game, or playing jokes like a child. And then pneumo, with like pneumonia, with a P-N-E-U, means wind, breath, spirit, soul. Okay, so you see where I'm going with this. Na, N-A, also means now, in the now moment, to be. I, internal. The fire, the light, the one, to unite. The memory of the breath, soul, I, joy, jewel, treasure. And by the way, his Matthias's site is called Y-O-S-O-Y, but it's pronounced Josoi. It's the I am energy. So joy was coming up with that as well, right? Joy soy was coming up, or Josoi. But just that energy was coming up of Joya again. The memory of the breath, soul, I, joy, jewel, treasure, grace, and playing. The breath now of fire and light to unite as one and be yourself. And then Daman came up, D-A-M-A-N, which means rock hyrax, which is the desert rat or mouse. It's a big one. It's a small animal, but big for a mouse or a rat. But D-A-M-A-N also means sleepwalking and sleep talking, and it means the Lamb of Israel. And it's called a shrew mouse. It's bulky, like Rocky and Bullwinkle have been coming up all week too. It's bulky with fangs, and again, is native to Africa and the Middle East. It's a desert mouse. And then A Joya means giant coot. I mean, it can be A as in not joyous as well, but here it's coming up as the giant coot, which is funny because that represents someone who's eccentric, a giant eccentric. And in Vitali literally fits that kind of image, right? Because he's like a gentle giant. So Daman the Joya was coming up as sleepwalking and talking, gentle coot or eccentric fellow. The Lamb of Israel, a large mouse and strange bird. Of treasure, a jewel, a joy, and a nerd. And Lamana Joya is the Lama of the Dalai Lama, which has to do with the monk or the master of Buddhism. But Lama also means depression and paralysis, mud, and the water meadow. And again, water meadow basically being mud. The torch, the light, the long, old, lame, ancient blade of the swordsman and the swordswoman, the field, yard, lawn, or playground, and female, to crouch down or hide oneself, and the word tongue. So the monk was coming through here of the two and the sea, the ocean, the beach, right? The Buddhist master. So as an ancient light, torch, and muddy water meadow of two, the lady of the lake and the Buddhist master or monk of the sea, to crouch down and speak in tongues and behold joy and treasure, the Lamb of Israel, the Dalai Lama, the miraculous gift out of nowhere, a jewel, a treasure, a joy, the memory of the breath of the soul, now to be bound to unification. So that was the message from yesterday. And then today, Monday the 23rd, I had pulled out what did I pull out? Oh, I was talking about, so this morning when I went out to feed the 3 cats, they were all lined up waiting for me to feed them. They were so cute. And I actually got some time out front to cuddle with the mama a little bit to try to get the 2 kittens to not be afraid to come and allow me to pet them. And I saw 2 flocks of bird fly southeast to east. One was a blackbird flock, and then I saw an alignment of geese, which I always say hi to the geese and they always say hi back to me. So that's really funny. But they were flying in an eastward direction. So I then had pulled out my animal cards, which I'm actually going to pull one of these for you now, see what comes up for you. But what came up for me was the underlying energy of the 52 and the Black Panther, which I see as Teddy's card because it's like him with the leaves of his plant looking through the window, kind of spying. And then the first card that came out was the Elephant card. And I had just taken a big breath, and elephant literally means big breath or a gift of breath. So let's pull this card first and see what comes out. What is the most relevant card for my collective watching here today? At any time they might come to watch. That's too many cards bulked together. All right, here we go. So the blue heron is coming up, which is 45, which is the energy of the 5 of Cups, which is a grieving card, or letting go of that, and I'll read that to you. But we also have the moose coming up, and they're talking to each other. And the moose is 11, which is justice and alignment, right? It's like he's like trying to make sense of things for the blue heron over here. Blue heron, the MO of the Aussie. So again, and Teddy's an Australian Shepherd. So again, this energy of like Teddy trying to make peace with the kittens or the blue heron, the bird, or someone who may be grieving. And I think that the kitten's mother has been through it a bit living outside. And then just this, the bat card wants to come out here too, which is the 42 is the 2 of Cups. And it's like the bat's coming into the rescue. And look at his little feet. He just like gave a massage on someone's spine. I'm getting like that bug that was walking up and down spines, that he was just doing that. And he's coming in to save the day. And the underlying energy is the 36 of the lizard, looking for prey, is what I'm getting. And there's Sophia underneath there, okay? So Sophia is definitely present here. And the present, remember I told you in Vitality that I had this kind of lower vibrational lizard energy that came up like a Linda Blair moment. It's 3:33 on the clock. But again, it was releasing, in order to go higher to Sophia's energy, you have to dive deeper and lower into your own negative energy, but also clearing the room at that point so that she could come in and bring her message through me when I was at Vitality. So here's that energy, again, confirming those energies for me again. But the 36 is the energy of Atlas and the weight of the world, right? Someone may not look like they're in a good place, but maybe it's because they've been through a lot. The 36 of the 10 of Wands, of the weight of the world. As the bat just went flying. That was very appropriate. And then we have these two guys, which I'm going to pull up the blue heron and read to you what the blue heron has. But again, Bullwinkle and the squirrel keep coming up. And, you know, bat's kind of like a flying squirrel, right? So there's Rocky and Bullwinkle and the blue heron. So who's the blue heron, right? So let's see. Let's see what the blue heron says. 45. Okay, blue heron is self-reflection. Okay, so I guess maybe Rocky and Bullwinkle are just the thing you need right now for self-reflection. The little poem on the Heron page says, "Thank you, sacred water bird, for sending reflections to me, the mirrors of the quest for life, the worlds that live inside of me. Show me how relationships work, with my path woven within the whole, the lessons of kinship with all life, reflecting my spirit's eternal goal." Heron medicine is the power of knowing the self by discovering its gifts and facing its challenges. It is the ability to accept all feelings and opinions without denying any emotion or thought. Heron flies over those who are unaware of who they are and where they belong in the world. Gently dropping a blue feather to them, Heron asks that they follow their intuition and begin the empowering journey of self-realization. If the great blue heron is flown into your cards today, it's urging you to dive into the watery world of feelings to seek your truth. Heron teaches you to develop your self-reflective skills so that you may come to know yourself in an intimate way. Looking at yourself through the filmy lens of self-importance, the cloudy perceptions of low self-worth, or the myopic eyes of self-pity, You will never understand your true potential or appreciate the opportunities that appear. Huron asks that you examine yourself with a cold eye to see what you wish to improve and how you want to change. If you get stuck in the process, it may be a sign that you're being too hard or critical. Choosing to blame others and constantly pointing a finger at life situations instead of claiming responsibility for your actions shows that you are lacking the courage to face the enemy within. Huron medicine people are willing to look at themselves and see the truth of their motives, actions, feelings, dreams, goals, inner strengths, and inner weaknesses. In balancing those truths, Huron's medicine shows you how to meet the challenges of your personal weaknesses, which we all have, and how to continue developing the skills that lead to inner strength and certainty of purpose. Are you willing to dive into the watery depths of your own feelings and discover the role of your spiritual essence? Well, Huron is now calling you to delve deeper, to know yourself, and to trust your path. Like the phoenix who rises from its own ashes, Huron emerges from unseen worlds of spirit into a new balanced sense of self in order to embrace its potential again and again. The magnificence of your human spirit lies waiting for the joya of discovery if you're courageous enough to follow the water bird through the journey. Huron reminds you that every traveler on life's journey is a messenger, and that every destination is the beginning of a new cycle on the medicine wheel. Okay, so now getting into the 52 Black Panther, which is the card that I had pulled this morning. And then the first card out was the unnumbered card, because some of them are left blank for you to fill in. And it's the Elephant card, which again is Elephant, which is the gift or big breath. And I had just taken a big breath when I pulled the Elephant. As the Queen of Swords 52, after your Divine Feminine with the 27 and the Dragonfly, perhaps inspired by the Dragonfly, and the Black Panther, Queen of Swords. An elephant was then coming up as L, F, ant. So just the letters L, F, and then A-N-T, which is literally LF besides leaf is also the number 2. And then ant is An, 1, and T, 2. The leaf to cut, a web spider. A furrow, perhaps a furrowed brow, a trench, wrinkles, elk, and moose. And there's the moose coming up again. And the oath, the claw, the finger, the toenail, the talon of the bird, and the thumb. And the carpenter's blade, the ADZE came up, which is a carpenter's blade that's at 90 degrees. The ring or eyelet on jewelry and Hathor came up under that definition as well. On between the priest and my net, which means to go, or what goes around comes around, duck, guess, or sense. And then LF also is light field, or left field, or left foot, or linear feet, line, not line feed, low fat, and looking for. But L is also lambda, or lambda father, and F is also digamma, or twin flame, waves, back and forth. Remember, the twin flame energy is the quantum energy of push and pull back and forth. And the elephant here is coming up as the gift of breath, where the nose an elephant. It's got a very protected nose, right? He's got the trunk, right? The trunk that has the treasure inside. And it reminded me when I was first in this neighborhood, when there used to be a grocery store here a long time ago, it's not here anymore. There was a woman without a nose. I guess, I don't know if she lost it to cancer or whatever it was, but she would shop at the grocery store with her nose wide open. It was very interesting. But the temple of breath of elephant and LF ant, the left feminine, the light field, bidirectional at 90 degrees, like gears. So I was seeing this the other day too, that the two bidirectional circles, like two propellers, right, like a hovering plane, and two propellers going in different directions towards each other. But they were showing me with gears, like every quarter turn, it clicks. There's another click, like just the seasonal upgrades that we get. The oath, the talon, the fingernail, or print. The stamp, your fingerprint is your stamp. The furrow, wrinkles are your fingerprint. the elk, the moose, and the light field, and the 90 degrees of blade, the ring of Hathor, and duck, duck, goose. A guess or sensing of what goes around comes around. 1L, which is that right angle at 90 degrees, or you can tip that L over and it becomes the V of creation. 1L or V at a time, which is then LV, and love could come up there. So then I was looking at some L backwards to see if I could find what it meant, and it was just coming up as a font description, but also came up as a rectangle with an X inside of it. And if you're interested, it was an interesting site because it had all different lists of symbols, and that was htmlsymbols.xyz. So I was looking up some of the alchemical symbols, and what was coming up was aqua fortis, which is an upside down triangle with an F attached to it, so it's on an angle, and then the same delta R, which is the upside down triangle with an R coming out of the one side of it. And what they mean is aqua fortis and aqua regia, right? Fortis has to do with strength and being firm, right? Strongly articulate also came up with that. And regia, aqua regia, has to do with direction. But ultimately what it comes up as, because aqua fortis is the nitric acid or strong water that can melt silver, whereas aqua regia is the it has the ability to dissolve gold, not just silver. It's hydrochloric acid, 3 parts, and 1 part of the nitric acid, which is the regia aqua, or the royal water, as opposed to the strong water that dissolves silver. And remember that liquid silver is mercury. So mercury was coming up in liquid silver, and then the different symbols were coming up, and QE, as in QE2 always comes up with that, is quintessence. So that was coming up as significant. And then LF was coming up from the elephant as the silver light, but also as low frequency. And then the LR, which would be the left and the right, or the light and the radio frequency, as the golden light, being both light and sound. And then RF, also as radio frequency, was coming up, and all these different combinations of such. And then it took me to some examples of the online pictures of frequencies, just to remind me of the different level of waves and the hertz and all that kind of stuff. And amplitude came up too. So again, that word AMP came up, which came up, I think, on my last video. And again, the scale, from infrared, below the human visual field of the rainbow, and then the ultraviolet, which is just above that, and then going into X-ray and gamma ray. So the energy was coming up as the R and the L, which is also the right and the left, right? But the plus sign in the middle is coming up as the amp, which is the noise, right, that an amplifier makes, but also the amplitude, which is the height, right? So the plus sign in the middle being the noise and the height, the heightening between the right and the left, the radio and the light frequency. And the difference between radar sound and sonar is air and water, okay? So then the QE of quintessence literally means all senses, or something in its purest form, or its concentrated form, or the purest example of embodiment of something. But it also means ether, which, we all know the 4 elements basically embody together as ether. And so the QE literally means ether, or all senses, or all elements. And ether is AE of ash, which means bright light in Pleiadian. And then THR is tremendously high radio frequency, or the high road. So ether comes up as ash and very bright light, and amp, a very loud sound. The 2 equals LF, the quantum energy of 2 low-frequency humans, digamma, or the twin flame, at 90 degrees, like those the cog in the wheel. Like I said, they connect at each quarter turn, coming towards each other, both circles. And again, like the carpenter's tool ADSI was coming up. So ether and the L to F, which is also the lambda father, so same kind of thing as the L of lambda. The lambda father back and forth, and the number 4 was coming up as in the 4th quarter. The light field at 90 degrees of digamma of the twin flame push and pull of sonar waves. So what was coming up here, because this has come up earlier this week, is Mary's bath. So Mary's bath, for those of you not familiar, is an alchemist's double boiler, basically. And for me, I haven't been told this, but I know it has to do with the med bed and how it works. So I was looking more into this, and it was very cool what came out. It's just on this one same page, and that's all that came up, but it was very significant. Okay, so remember in alchemy that Eden equals vapor. And so in alchemy, you have the ether, and then it breaks down into Eden, the Garden of Eden, where then humans split into 2 and the 4 elements into 4 elements, okay? So this is where they break apart. And imagine that like the white of a rainbow that breaks into all of its colors. The ether is the white, and it breaks into all the elements, which then plasma comes in here somewhere too, right? Because plasma is in your blood, right? So since vapor, and I brought this comparison up before, where, right, vapor is kind of where, right, where air and water meet. But we also have the fire element of hot steam, which heats up plasma. And plasma is like the watery portal, okay? That's that plasma energy. And then earth is the solidifying, right? The grounding down here on earth. So if Eden and vapor is between ether and the elements, and going from, solid to liquid to gas, and plasma even higher than that. And then we can talk about the back of the, I think Bose-Einstein condensate, which then condensate is the con and den. Notice the Eden, the den is in the middle of condensate, the satiation of the den, which then is a cold aspect of plasma, which is needs heat. So what is between the white of the color of light and the rainbow, right? The phased array. So this is where plasma was coming in. Let's think about what plasma looks like in a portal. It looks watery, but it's not vapor or steam. It's that in-between state, okay? Becoming more watery, right? It's not steam where it's misty. It's like a globule of water. It's solidifying. It's like metal being melted as opposed to air and water. Okay? You following me? So Mary's bath is a double boiler. So just imagine a bath inside of a bath, right? Where the patient would lie in the inner bath. And the outer bath is filled with water or some kind of energy that's in this in-between state, where pH comes up here, and I'll tell you that in a minute. I'm getting ahead of myself. So just realize that Eden is ED and EN, right? E is energy and D is the planetary spinning, okay? It represents the spin of the planet. And then EN is my code for JC, but it's also the energy of the N, which is the Christed aspect, or Christ to ED is like Lamb to Father, okay? Remember, Christ is also the horsepower at the crossroads. And Ed is the energy of the planetary spin. So if you think about high frequency, right, you're going to see a lot of up and down lines very close together. And then that's up and down, but you need the circular spin of the planet, okay? So it's like these two energies coming together. Where then we have it was bringing me to Venus and Mercury, because when I was watching, something came up. I went to Ascension Glossary because Heros Gamos came up. So I went to review that again on Ascension Glossary, which I encourage you to read that whole section because it literally tells you the steps to Heros Gamos. But she brings up the fact that the hermaphrodite isn't a sexless person. Hermaphrodite is Hermes and Aphrodites. I wanted to say Aphrodites. Like, why am I not saying this right? It's literally the hermit and the Aphrodite. So, of course, I had to break that down as well. But remember the words I just brought up from alchemy. The aqua fortis, which is the delta F, and then the delta R, which is aqua regis, which one is the strong water and one's the royal water. The strong water melts silver and dissolves silver. Liquid silver is mercury. And to dissolve gold is the aqua gold of aqua regis, which dissolves gold, the royal water. So then I was breaking down Aphrodites because, of course, hermit is the hermit, right? He's wise and old. But what comes up from Aphrodites, and I'm not going to go through all the definitions because there was a lot that came up here, but it came up to illumination and sense like the rods in your eyes, sensitive to light. But also a word came up, APH ID, which is sap-sucking pest, and to split, unsparing, lavishly borrowed, or not to be sparing, not to be thrifty, or not to be merciful. And what is that when you're talking about the crossroads and relatives and your kind or race or breed? What has to do with the child, right? To split without the id was coming up here. Aphrodites is A, PH also, and rod. And a pH is a phot, or illuminancy, right? It's a photo, but it's red. So here was coming up a photo cell sensitivity to light, Aphrodite, an illuminant cell, an infinite illuminant cell of a sap-suckling, light-sensitive cell, the infinitely foaming red light, inexperienced, young, naive, which is the gold royal youth, where the hermit is the old, wise, experienced, and mature energy of liquid silver, of Mercury, or Hermes, and of the power and wisdom. So again, the energy of the youth and the grandparent, so to speak, the young and the old. So the pH was coming back to Mary's bath, because pH also means bathroom or water closet, besides pH level, but it also means phot, that illuminance cell. So now we're in Mary's bath, talking about an illuminance cell and a water closet, where the hermit is the salt of the earth, right? He's the grandparent. And the young one, Aphrodite, she's not about being a sex kitten. It's about being pure and innocent and naive. So hermit is salt of the earth meets fresh meat, or the child, Aphrodite, which is then the salt meeting fresh, which becomes the vortex. It creates a vortex. But what is salt and fresh meat? It's cured. The cure is in the vortex of Mary's bath, the water closet, the bathroom, the illuminated cell, the energy of the high vibe waves, the high frequency waves up and down, along with the spin and the cog in the wheel that clicks every quarter turn. And this is the getting to that 0 point spot of where you're in between white and rainbow, or you're in between ether and the elements coming through Eden. So again, Mary's vapor bath, the steam bath of Eden, which comes from ether, because ether broken down to Eden is vapor, which is where the two are then separated, then separated further into the 4 elements. And again, be is to be, or the number 13, which is not to be between life and death. In Mary's arms, so to speak, in the bath, as we're talking about Christ to Ed, Christ to Father, and Mary's bath. So there's lots of clues on here on how this works. So it's up to you guys. And there's definitely stuff about sonar energy in here with ultrasound. So then the symbol also came up of, what was it exactly? So, the quintessence is Q and E, and I used to dabble in that symbol. You might have seen it from me before, because I used to do the QE2 for the twin flames, right? Because it's the 2 quantum energies. And the actual symbol that was coming up here was this symbol here was coming up, like it looks like 930, because it's the E and the Q, and the number 2 was coming up with this squared angle at 930. And then the J was also coming up as the L, right? L is the 2 dots and the arc between, the bridge, the leap, all of that stuff, the whispering bench. But the J is what hooks it into the earth, right? Grounds it. And that symbol was coming up as well. As well as another symbol, the double fish bladder, which is Vesica Pisces, right? And the point of a double fish bladder is so that the fish can raise themselves close to the surface or sink themselves down to the bottom by a double bladder where they can keep air in both sections or perhaps water it down a bit, right? And all of this message came from the elephant, which is the gift of breath. Okay, so now we're going to go back to September 15th. So again, the first thing that happened on the 15th was they were taking me back to Mana again. So which came up, Vitality for me. It was my second time at Vitality, which is a heavy breathing session for some of the who may not know. And so Mana came up in me channeling Divine Mother during this session in front of 100 people. Which was amazing for me. It was the most beautiful energy ever coming through. And her just like screaming at her children, like, I love you. You are all miracles. You know, you are the manna falling from the sky, the miraculous nourishment that fell from heaven for 40 years between Exodus and the conquest of Israel through the desert. A month after leaving Egypt, the Israelites ran out of food. So that 30 days is significant that we're in right now. This period right now is very significant. There's a 30-day period, and then 9/30 came up, which is September 30th, which is this week, right? We're a week away from 9/30. So Mana, literally Mana, from 40 days and 40 nights, was on a Sunday. And it was the 15th, which this last 15th, September 15th, was a Sunday. And some believed that the manna fell out of the sky the night of the 15th, and others believed it was 3 days later on the 18th, which was my birthday. So then they turned to Moses and Aaron for food. Some say the food fell that night, and others 3 days later on the 18th, which is also Chai, C-H-A-I, which means life in Judaism. Which would then later become the day of Lag Bo Omer, which is the name of it. And then Mon can also mean what in Egyptian, but again was coming up as what Joya you are. Mana is also the size of a coriander seed and the color of white bedolak, which commemorates or explains the commentaries and explain that it means fine crystal. All right, so listen to that. Okay, I'm going to say that again. Mana also is the size of a coriander seed and the color of white bedolak, which commentaries explain is fine crystal. The wind would sweep it and the rain would wash it, and the dew would cushion its fall, and then the dew would cover it as well, as if it were packaged in a box. 43 ounces, literally the number 43 ounces of nourishment, 43 is the 3 of cups of coming together in joy. And leftovers were discarded. There were no reserves. having faith that God would provide their needs each day. And on the Shabbat, no food, rest. So the day before, they would get a double portion sent, bread from heaven. The righteous food outside the door, so the righteous would get their food delivered straight to their door. And then the average people in the camp would have to go into town to get their, just go into the center right there outside their homes to get their food. But the wicked would have to go far to find theirs, and it was unprocessed. They had until the 4th hour of the day, or the food would melt, and that was called the midrash, or midday rations, I guess, creating streams that provided for the animals. If man ate that animal, he would then taste the manna. It tasted different to each one depending on what their desire was. So some people who missed some foods were wondering why they couldn't taste those foods, but zucchini, watermelon, leeks, onions, and garlic were thought to be harmful to lactating women, so they were not included. Food manna caused no poop. Gems and pearls would fall from the sky as well, and fragrant odor as perfume for the women. Manna would settle disputes also, right? Where you automatically knew who was guilty or not, because the next day, the one who was guilty wouldn't get their food, and the one that wasn't guilty would. Midrash was saved as a reminder, hidden in the ark in a special hidden passage, still there waiting to be rediscovered with advent of Moshiach, which is occupied solely by learning the Torah. People are sustained by the learning of the Torah, which really has to do with what inspires you, right? Finding what inspires you most in life, because that then connects you to God. Return to Israel to rebuild the Holy Temple, to usher in the utopian Messianic era. Sustained by heaven as we focus on delving into the Torah, which literally Torah breaks down to 2 rays or 2 ras. And that makes me think of the scent of a woman. He says, hoorah. So bread is be read, be well read, which is very much a Judaism thing about education. And also it's BRE:AD, or after death. Brie also comes up here. And again, a bris could come up here as well. I wasn't noticing that before. But, there's other definitions I broke down the words for. And Baal came up with Ea and D for bread, as well as BAA in the archangels, and Ea and the D of the divine access spin, or Mother Earth. To be or 13, to be or not to be, and AA, Ea, and the spinning planet was coming up with that. And the RAH is surprise and admiration, or anger and frustration. Posh accent, rice, fruit, berry, or to bear fruit, and frog. In Sumerian, an envoy, a diplomat, a secretary, or a servant, to clean, wash, and refine. The Torah, 2 envoys to bear fruit, to clean, wash, and refine, or transmute. Torah is also tree, or or aura 1-to-1. Auras overlap, 2 auras overlap to bear fruit and refine. So, and that was all at 12:44. At 1:28, La G, or Lag Ba Omer, I was breaking that down. Angels, little t leaping to be or not to be, a human C, or Omer. And chestnut came up again too, which I had broken down chestnut because it's CH of horsepower, EST of east, and nut. Right, the horsepower of 144 turns of the wheel, east, as the birds were flying east today, and then the nut, which is like the cog in the wheel. How cool. And I'm just getting that now. So let's see here. Then the hippocampus came up again. I don't want to go into all of this because I could get into a lot. But the energy of, Anne and Anna came up. She with X on her chest and he with the plus sign. He inside of. She in the tunnel, and he is the circular intersection, like in New Jersey. They still have the roads that are circular. The love life of an orphan, Anna or Annie, one or not, or one and any. As medicine man or woman, and the Native American imprisonment and slavery was coming up, as well as the baby. So, right, those who are vulnerable. And the high priestess purification or forgiveness of the Celtic Neanderthal man. And the word Ned means Neanderthal as well. Her in the underground stone cave or cavern, and he is the vortex of stone cross above ground. She with the X on her chest, kind of like the scarlet letter, and he with the plus sign, he inside of. She in the tunnel, and he is the circular intersection or cross. The love life of orphan Anna or Annie, one and not, or one and any. As medicine man or woman catches her dreams with Lady Liberty, and sun at their left back, and flame unseen right, with faith of ships coming in spanking shiny and new, liberty to wind their sail, as the knighthood vows to protect, honor, and defend the mother and child, for the body to have access to both mother and father, or for the baby to have access to both mother and father, or mother assumed, right, because she births the baby, but baby has to reach for the father, unsure where they've been. And then it's 138, which is the Magician and the Queen of Cups. The baby's phobias of persecution and inquisition. As remember, we transfer our wounds to our children. Literally, heavy metals transfer 4 generations, apparently. So if your mother had high mercury, she can transfer it to 4 generations, okay? So as the mother's side is highlighted here, of being strung up or hung out to dry in Egypt or down on the farm, and remember my comparison of farm and Melf, which is the father's arm and the mother's elf, the pyramid, the horses, and the shed. A fire amidst 2 horses of Mr. and Mrs. Ed. The hippocampus, which literally is horse farm. The hip polka, or MPUs. The 10 grandchild, sir, master, lord, and water. 1-to-1 IP or PO. The C and A of MPUs, or the CMPUs of C amp us, or leaping to amp us up, or AM puss, as in having a puss on your face, or a pussycat. High PPO, CAMP, and there the AMP could be coming up, grocery stores. We were talking about that, an old grocery store. In the US, a new leap to mom and pop grocery store. And PPO can be a personal protection order. And again, the father's natural role is a personal protection order of the mother and children. The high 2 Ps with source support, CAMP as us, or Camp US. The Hippoca, destinies, or no Hippoca, but Hippocastani, which equals horse, that's chestnut. And then Stani, which means tin or stony, to drive out of the den or lair or burrow, to bring out of isolation, the chestnut horse in need of coming out of isolation, the Tin Man, Rocky, and Bullwinkle. Bullwinkle wasn't written here, but Rocky, and then the horse with no name. Today, the devil and the 6 of Wands, about conceit and reputation, running up the museum steps for fame, or running over muse, UM for fame. Baby's fear of being orphaned and sent to the pyramid or the farm, or being sent to live with father or uncle by court order, but by an angel, because it's actually a blessing in disguise. A suitcase underneath the pyramids. Now you're on the right track. It looks like the gavel base. You know, that when you pound the gavel, the base to pound or beat. The angel sparkly hammer on this cap-like, it's like the cap on a curtain rod that I explained on the other video, the last one or the one before that, or the cap on a post, you know, like if you put a cap on your deck post. But this is the base of the gavel. the angel's sparkly hammer, and gavel is God's avenue to L, having the last word, or pennies from heaven. Rings, an angel gets their wings. As a suitcase, and when I was 8 years old, I dropped my suitcase on the tracks when I was getting out of a metro liner. My dad was taking me to my grandmother's for the first time to stay with them for a week, which didn't last. But my suitcase fell on the tracks down in the ditch. When I was sent to grandparents to never return, right? The fear of the child, the fear of trains, the fear of G-rail, the grail, because grail is God's rail or train, the Ark of the Covenant with midrash, below the pyramid, the tracks, and again the energy of the O and the reverberation of the portal. It's like a tunnel in suspended animation, like a stent. And then at 2:08, literally, the train blew their horn here. So again, Dinah, blow your horn was then coming up. The slaves that built the pyramid tracks, gifted angel Mana, the authority on that. Mothers and babies underground, both under Egyptian pyramids, and the Celtic horse farm or French farm where father lived. Remembrance of being sent away to stay with others, or sold into slavery, or railroaded, left at the farm. Angels in the outfield where one sister had to go home, or when sisters were in control. But now angels and unicorns with the power to infiltrate. You never know who's on the farm or in the courtroom these days. A blessing in disguise. So Dinah, blow your horn, is a representation of a slave woman from 1894. And the first words from 1894 were that I once did know a girl named Grace. I'm walking on the levee. They're writing it in, broken English. She done brung me to this sad disgrace. Working on the railroad all live long day, singing a song, Oh, the city, while rolling cotton bale. Happiest when getting out of jail. And think about that, right? Happiest when getting out of jail is the 10 of Swords reversed, right? 10 of Swords is the worst pain imaginable. And then reversed is when the pain ends and comes out of you. He's happiest when he's getting out of jail. And this is just from Wikipedia. Brought out of isolation. Norfolk, oyster shells. Boston for its beers. And Charleston for its rice and corn. But for the N word, New Orleans, thinking about when their ship comes in. So then the personal protection order was coming up as handed down by angels requiring to leave or travel to clear pyramids and rails, arcs and holy grails. And then I was smelling a skunk and something stinks. And then I was seeing Lucy and Desi Arnaz and Desi saying, Lucy, like, what did you do? And Lucy also can be lucky, right? Lucy. Left at the right angel, UCY. You see why? The X and the Y at 90 degrees, where the X and the Y reversed as he lays, or the Y on its side, right? If you turn an X a quarter turn, it's still an X. But if you turn the Y a quarter turn, it's a lean-to, as he lays down his coat, a path for her, so she doesn't get dirty. But what happens when he's unable to protect and defend before they were slaves or traded underground? Lil, the reason why, like Lil and Angelica, service to self, as Lucy the elephant in Ventnor, and Charlie, Vietnam. Ventnor was coming up as VENTNOR, which is to create the giant humanoid talking tree with no open house. And then Vietnam was coming up as the life tree name, or someone who makes a name for themselves. So Lucy the elephant in Ventnor, and Charlie Vietnam, and Snoopy on the side, of course, the spy who loved me. And Lucy of Lou and CY, where LU is 12 and 21, notice, which is 33, and CY is 3 and 25 of the Empress and the Knight of Wands, and adds to the number 28, which is the twin flame energy. The EN the HP of Charlie, because CH is horsepower, or the 144 turns of the wheel, Charlie comes up as HP or lie, or Lucy of the 1221, the 33 bridge, and the 325 is the eagle at the Y in the road, the twin flames, because Sophia is no Opie up in the sky, and Lucy's in the sky with diamonds, with the sky who loved me. Lucy to Snoopy, with diamond in the rough. This guy is the gift of breath, in the horse with no name, and talking tree of life, in the hero's game. Today, Lucy is demanding, and Charlie is burned out, perhaps energy vampired, and Snoop Dogg is present. Excuse me, wait a minute. Today, Lucy is demanding. She is present, and Lucy is everywhere. Charlie's burned out, energy vampired, holding the torch, and Snoop Dogg is the one holding the torch, 7/26/24 at the opening ceremonies, after torching his whole life. Running from charges of self-defense and no pretense. So you see, Lucy, Lou sees why the horse of 144 water wheel turns lays down to die, so she and Snoop can get across, an uncrossing, so to speak, as the dog lights up the whole sky with howling winds in her sail, the dog with the to get her going, directing her to her holy grail, as to not miss the train after love rains on me, the dog to wolf as God to flow, go dog go, to cat who likes her hat. So Lucy gets her wolf dog, so then God flows to YCUL, the opposite of Lucy, which is 0-point whispering bench, the Holy Grail at 90 degrees of X and Y to address, the sun lamb to da, or father, leap, where YCU is yesterday's lamb to father, talk or conversation, and why ass, anus, bottom, butt, or rear, why they were thin and narrow and smiling to cover his ass, his sex, his good luck and charm. Lucy being lucky, and roach, or Lucy in disguise. Why, he's a bum, a dick, a penis, an arse, to turn a chariot or wheel for her 144 times when she didn't even deserve dessert, but to be deserted. Again, Lucy and Charlie Brown. And then the YMCA was coming up, right, which is the youth organization, the Christian youth organization. So instead of YMCA, YCUL was coming up as the young children you love. So, and right after I wrote this, I checked my phone and we had gotten a message about my Aunt Lucy. So that was ironic, very ironic. Let's see. All right. So then on the 15th, I also, which is the day of Mana, I ended up drawing this, which is actually a tree with roots. And you can see my Instagram on that as well, which it's all colored. So the chestnut, the HP of horsepower east, and 140 east nut, or point, or new tree. 144 turns east, the Ea path, the Christed Holy Grail tree, which I told you the birds were all flying east this morning. And then 1441 kept coming up, which is, if you break down 1441, it's 4 ones, 1111, and then the other part of the fours is actually an arrow showing movement through. And then it's with plus at the end, which literally then becomes 1111, and the bow and arrow being shot right at the 1111. And 111 is also pi. It's the circle with the line down the middle. And then the arrow is F, or the digamma energy lying down. Pi digamma turning left. in motion to complete the set, right? So after 1111, the fifth is the ether energy completes the set. It's the line across, the arrow through. So they're telling you there's a completion here. The horsepower rising, utility point, sense, benefit, mountaintop, Mr. Ed, dawning the point of the mountaintop. And again, and then Skytop was coming up, which I think is around Route 44. So that's interesting, right? I-44 and Skytop. And here is the symbol that was coming up as the arrow coming through the ones, right? Because 1, 1, and 1, 1 is two circles, because these are arcs, right? Each line. So then when the arrow comes through, it makes two hearts. Okay? So then when I was trying to sleep, and my mind kept running with that, God, flow, wolf, dog thing. And also my daughter's name was coming up. And again, the energy of the gene and the horsepower and the L of EL and LE, the reflection of each other, of L and not L, or the gene, which is also genie. And horse HP of horsepower, and she, which is she and he, and hers, her and he. The co-creation of the inner child, and he, the location. The 1v1 of co-creation of the lowercase I of the chakra system, and 144 turns of the water wheel. The energy of the genie of 4 and 6, which is the 6 of cups, and the plus sign between. The chakra of 111 and the arrow coming at them. She, L, and not L. Again, so both sides of the situation. You're both your light and your shadow, he and she. And then they were calling me to break my son's name down too, for these energies. To sustain source frequency, you must be able to sustain a lower frequency. To love the growling and scratching the dirt, which is nothing but the animalistic side of you, and the godly pure side of you, where we were going from Virgo to Libra, that leaps across axis-wise to Pisces to Aries, which is the in-between state, right, from the old to the new. But you can sustain the flow as opposed to God, and you can sustain the dog as opposed to wolf, especially, the dark wolf. The Degama twin flame bridge leap or arc, the arch of human, that's two U's, the two U's or two VV creators. The bridge AM, B or 13, to bridge the I am presence of to be or not to be, Sophia or Soph and Ia. The energy of Libra, and Libra is the bookworm, the librarian. Right? The books in the library. And Virgo's the pure virgin who finds balance at the pages bound with Libra. Leaping to Dreamwalker, Pisces, bridging two worlds to Aries, the new. With the eclipse from the 17th to the 18th, which were 34 and 35 energies, the star and the moon, to see the sun and the sun. And then October 4th was coming up here too. And again, the completion of the cycles 3, 6, 9, and 12. And omega 3s were coming up here as well. As Father loves the hermit and the hanging man. And then the mother effer gene came up, MTHRF, which is the gene having to do with needing L-folate because you can't absorb folic acid. The mountain tree 1-to-1 open house with the twin flame. The feminine with space or to the heart of the fool who's late. And Michelle Mabel then came up, and then Michael. And then sont les mots qui vont très bien ensemble. These words are the words that go together well. Mabel. Michelle Mabel, which is my beautiful mother. And then methylation was coming up regarding And the nucleic acid is part of the process of gene expression. And then olat, which is blood vessel, tendon, nerve, region, territory. And then the caterpillar scar. Of news, information, report, or narrative. The caterpillar. And again, caterpillars, the butterfly, untransformed. All right, so then my pod came up. Ilates came up, ILATES, which means number 6, but also 1 and 5, to clean up, tidy, and then YLAT came up with that, to howl, like the wolf, and all, AWL, which is the whole maker, which is what I always use with, 1 for all, ALL, and then all, AWL for 1, and elate, to make joyful, to lift up and praise, elephant, exultant, and elama, to live or inhabit. So methylation was coming up here. The L to F again came up, which is what came up with the elephant. L to F, and here was coming up as the E left and elate, the 90 degrees of salt digamma twin flame, and the 6 of the twin flame tree, to clean, howl, to make joyful, exultant, and to live. To square the aspect, the 90 degrees of salty gamma waves. So again, here again is bringing the salt and the fresh together, the bidirectional boomerangs of L and F, which means 2, and leaf, with space between births, right, again, like the 40 days and 40 nights and the 30 days, waiting for mana to come in. The FT of faux art or heart, to rise up the hill, the left foot, and 2, or light to rise. As LFFT was coming up, LFFT as the lambda, fast forward to the tree, the hill, the mountain. And again, the bidirectional crosses or propellers coming together as they cog every quarter turn. The TL of inner into the timeline. And then Tagalog came up, which is the Philippines. Turkish lira in the timeline of twin flame gate holders, spinning bidirectionally in order to hover, to hold the bridge open for others to cross, again like a suspended portal bridge. The Christ, which is the horsepower of the cross, the crossroads, the HP plus ed. Again, the 4 ones with the arrow going through them. The Christ ed, the temple, the energy, 1 equal congruent to the spinning planet, the divine axis spin. The two vine axe is the S, or Sophia's pin. The energy of pi, and then the plus sign, and the movement, which is then phi, right, of the squished 0 with the line down the middle, showing pressure and expansion. The T apostrophe M pull of magnetic energy, equal and congruent to the divine axis spin. The 2 vine axe is Sophia's pin, and then the pineal is coming up. But the pin is my pin example of the safety pin, right? Where the housing in the back of the pin is the masculine. The 2 circles below represent the masculine and feminine together. And then the other side of the pin is part of the feminine circle, which then opens from the pin to collect sun rays from the sun, to create a vacuum in the pin, which then seals it closed. And then when the masculine uses up the energy, the pin then falls open again to collect for the feminine to collect from the sun. And this relates to the 2 P's in the pod, where the pod holds 2 P's, or the 8. The poo bridge, which was coming up as P is housing and the R is the open house. And the poo bridge of asshole and pee hole. And again, like the 2 P's in the pod of just the vaginal holes. Sorry, we're getting technical here. Because the genitalia is coming up, because it's the gene at all. The expression of the I am a gene, or imagination. I am a gene. I'm a genie, tiger lioness connection. Genie in a bottle, source energy of and L, ion, which is connection, and S of Sophia. Trapped, needed to express. The L, ion, S, the lions, right? The 90 degrees connection with Sophia, where LS means tongue, and again, speaking in tongues, and the Egyptian also came up, and the tongues connection. From trapped, needed to express, from the pin pod, which is also pay on delivery or pay upon death, which is the same thing, right? Pay upon birth or pay upon death. Signed, sealed, delivered, I'm yours. At 1:31, which is when my dad woke me up one night, which is also the 13 and 31 of life and death. 2 PR, 2 P's house, and then open house. So first the 2 P's get acclimated in their house and each other, and then they open up their house. To 131, which is to be and not to be, closed and open at the same time, or sealed and open at the same time. The sine wave, sealed. The sine wave is just a 0, but it's a coil pulled apart. And delivered, and again, that suspended animation portal or bridge coming up that looks like a stent or something pulled apart, like a, the Chinese toy that traps your fingers. The energy of the circle with the plus sign in the middle and the spin, the direction that takes you across the bridge. The infinite spin and direction of the infinity symbol with the arrow going through it, which then makes the 2 hearts that I showed you, which then was taking us to, again, the toroidal field, right? The apple from the side and the donut from the top. And again, the energy of the toroidal field and the stent, so to speak, of the suspended animation here. Okay, the bidirectional seated twins, 2 P's in a pod of singularity. And again, this is coming up as the tree with the 2 P's in the pod and the canopy, where the tree, remember, is the singularity if you look at it from the top. That the core is the initial wound. The arrow through the center of the sphere becomes the core of the apple, or in other words, the heart. So the core is the reason why the core of the apple is the core and not like the cheeks of the apple is because that was the wounding, was the first place, the first wound, the heart, the broken heart. And then Inventing Anna was coming up, and I'd watched it before, but I actually ended up watching it again. And Inventing Anna was breaking down into in creation, giant humanoid talking tree, wobbly, bending in the current, +1 and -1, grounding in ink, or a reporter, the house by the water meadow, or Alcatraz, or Amsterdam Isle, which is that isle equal distance from the Antarctic, I think it's Africa and India, and it's actually a volcano island. An explosive mountain affecting the plates and tunnels below, the ground underwater, the leaks and the ways out. Amsterdam, ST or path, ER, urgency, and dam. All bridge at Ray Z, which is the sleeping N, which is Christed, the 144 cross to Ed. The temple divine, the rolling stone, heaven on earth, which comes up as heaven on earth, Tehran, and then Gaia, which is Joya. So Mother Divine was telling me that when I was saying Mana Joya, that Gaia, Gaea, is actually Joya, right? It's gay and joy. It's the same word. So heaven, and then they were using, instead of Terra, Tehran, because I spell it like that, Tehra, because that's the same letters as earth, right? Because the conversion of earth into Gaia, or Joya. And earth is E as earth, and ETG was coming up as Earth, Terra, Gaia. And the energy of the flood came up here. The bed of water, right? The water meadow, the bed of water, the mud, the blade, the earth, the ground, the flood. ETG, which then becomes EIG if you put them all in line vertically, and then becomes EJ, Very interesting. Bridging, it's a little t bridging up. The letter G is little t and big C, right? So it's the little t leaping up to the temple, the ET tree, the apple tree or ample tree, leaps and bridges to little t. The energy of Ea tree grounds, room 222, which is the guidance counselor show. So the guides and Ea, the family of Ea, right? The Ea is Enki, and the Anunnaki, Anu is the father of Ea, and those who seeded us. Earth, Terra, Gaia, and room 222, the ash or bright light of Ea, and the little ones reach for the bright light of Ea's earth and infinite ear, and then bed of water, like a blade cuts and runs to get to Gaia. So it's very interesting the way that was coming through. Why am I going back to here? Am I on the wrong page? That's funny, that came up again. That wasn't, was that what I was meant? Oh, it was, okay. I was confused as to why the dates were going backward, but I had put some extra pages here in the back from something I was writing notes for. Okay, so I'm fine. All right, so now we're going to go back to the beginning of my new book. And sulfur was coming through big, and I talked about that before. And when I looked up sulfur to research it a little bit on the 17th, sour sulfur was coming up, which is, so sulfur is allowed to be less than 0.5% sulfur, the petroleum. And if it's more than 0.5%, it's considered sour sulfur. And a lot of countries still are using a lot of sour sulfur because this was a new law. And I kept getting the buildup of sulfur underneath the Middle East, and why that was going to cause some kind of eruption. Okay, so sulfur came up, and what else was coming up here? And again, the 144 and 133 together were coming up, reflecting each other as the circle with the plus in the middle of it, and then the square with the plus in the middle of it, and the two different forms, and then the wind of the arrow coming through them. Right, so the gift, and we talked about the manna, that the manna will come down and be protected like a gift by the dew. And then the iris was coming up on the 17th as well, like iris, like a flower, or the eye, however it comes to you. But it was coming up, for me, it was coming up from the Eiffel Tower, so there may be something French there. And then they took me back again to Mana Joya from the 15th to the 18th, Sunday the 15th to the 18th, and Angel Gabriel and Omer, or God's messengers, meditate. Two envoys, or again the Torah comes up, to bear fruit and refine. That was taking us back to the 15th that I read to you today. And then the rings of time were coming up, and then alarm was coming up, an alarm system. And the guardians of the soul family. And again, on this page, 30 days came up again. So again, the 30 days being significant, a month's time. And then that clock today that came up 9:30, which is 7 days from now, because today's the 23rd. And this 30 days was saying literally between births, 233, which would then be past September, right? Because it only is 30 days, so it would take us to October 3rd. And then 10:4 is message received. And the Huna prayer has been coming up a lot too. So if you haven't done a Huna prayer in a while, you might want to do that for 30 days. You can look that up. It's very simple. It's about calling whatever master, guide, angel, whoever you want to connect with, stating who they are, and then stating your request 3 times, and then sitting with your palms facing up, saying, may the rain of blessings fall, and so be it. And do that every day for 30 days. And then in the words, intuition and intention were coming up because they both break down to in the twin tower connection of you and I, in the twin tower connection of EN, which is JC. Okay, so they come up as the twin energy and then the Jesus energy or the Christed energy. And the difference in those bridges under the big top. But it was also bringing up the pi energy, right? Because pi 3.14 reflected the other way is the word pi. And that was coming up again, which makes the arc. I've shown you that picture before. The 5 of Wands players, your fire burns out, but the water is always yes. The ox is gut. I is a home and somewhere. And then here's where the X and Y and the plus sign in the middle all come together to make the star. Because if you put X and plus together, there's already the Y in there. It already comes together. So it's like they're 2 and 1. If you take the cross and add X, you automatically have Y, just like she and her. Okay? And then Calla Lily kept coming up too, as Callie being Ia and Lily being Lil. And again, the cold and hotness of energies, or lower chakra energies and higher chakra energies, to be or not to be which is Kuwait. And her are coming up now too, because is his place and her. There's other, there's stuff that came up regarding that too. Here, let's see where I'm going to. On the 18th, I forgot, I did a meditation for you guys, and I told you part of it, but I forgot to tell you the part that I saw, which was I was seeing a kitten coming in, and then I saw 2 big elephants, like side by side, mushed together, you know, like they belong together. And then I see the one elephant become the shadow of the other elephant and walk away the other direction, back the other direction again, with the cat, who then grows up to be a big cat, or like a ferocious cat, you know, but mature, you know, beautiful. Who grows, and I was getting the puma cat, strong and fierce. And also the lynx could be coming up, because the lynx has been thought to be also the Sphinx. With Ellie at their side, which, remember, Ellie is the gift of the elephant, the breath, the big breath, the gift of breath. I'm just getting a breath of fresh air, the elephant. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. The word anomaly keeps coming up as well. Anomaly has to do with being off balanced, right? Something that's not even, something unusual. Yeah. All right, so now I'm going to get into, and we're definitely starting a new period here, okay? There's definitely an ending and a new beginning that's happened here. This period right now, like I said, is very important. There's like a transition right here, and it's 4:44 on the clock. I'm going to do this read on the table for you now, which actually was done more for the Virgo time period and for Virgo energies, but I was being guided to do it for you guys, okay? So this is this energy coming up for you. And it makes sense too, because we got the Virgo energy here with Mercury and the number 9 here, and Libra, which we're right at that midpoint between Virgo and Libra, which is the midpoint of the cycle. So let me show you this read on the table. Sorry, I have so many pictures in between here that are not for you. Okay, so this is the read on the table. We have the SIRIAN Starseed deck as the main deck, the big cards, and then the Rider-Waite clarifiers. Okay, so this was cut on the 20th at 8:38, and then I finished at 8:48. And the 8 is the Strength card, the 38 is the Queen of Cups, and then the 48 is the 8 of Cups of walking away and within. The major arcana here, or reflection here, is the Hermit, and then abundance is the Empress. Where is she? I'm sorry, abundance is in the underlying energy. But then we also have the Great Wheel. The Wheel of Fortune is here. And then the Higher Self over here. And then Strength card and the Hanging Man came up in the after cards as well. There were 4 Wands, 2 Cups, 2 Pentacles, the 9 of Cups, which isn't a court card, but that comes up as a person sometimes as well. And the Knight of Pentacles came up, and the Queen of Wands. Before the read, the Page of Pentacles came up, and the numbers that came up were double 1s, double 2s, and double 6s. So we have the double 1s of Justice, 22 of the Fool, 66 is the Queen of Pentacles. And then we have 1, 2, 3 Leap as well. We have 12 of the Hanging Man, 23 of the King of Wands, 35 of the Wounded Warrior, 9 of Wands, 56 of the 2 of Swords, 67 of the Knight of Pentacles, 78 of the 10 of Pentacles, and then 89 for me is the Phi energy of reflection, or expanding and contracting or reflecting in the middle, and then 9, 10 begin again. But two 1s, 2 2s, and 2 6s. Those were the significant numbers. The code line was all about number 4 from 1, 2, and 1. It could be number 10 too if 6 was added in there. So there's a 10-4 again of message received, or message to be received. As the messages from the code line on the 20th here were coming up as Sophia being the key egg to see, the flash of light, the co-finality, the center field was coming up there. 2, of course, acing reflection, the Knight, of course, in 6 or 9 of Flames, which is the one who brings the good news, and then the Wounded Warrior, who's very on guard, very different energies, facing each other, right? The 2 opposite energies facing each other to lead and surrender. Sophia. And being at ease. Compact flash also comes up. And what are you, literally the quote, what are you doing, came up under one of the definitions. Easy street, ancient Celts, of Celtic fields, of 2 of case reflection, the Knight of 369 of Flames, and Celtic force was coming up. And the Noricum, which is now Austria, but was the Celtics way back when. The river valley or vessel was also coming up here with a definition, which is kind of what I saw. Remember when I saw the Y with the forest in the Y, which is like the valley? So the river valley, and we keep getting the water earth or the mud, and then the vessel coming up here, and Celtic force. So Celtic field also came up, which is a prehistoric agricultural field system found in Northwest Europe, in Britain, Ireland, Belgium, Netherlands, Germany, Denmark, France, Sweden, Poland, and the Baltic states, from 1800 BC, the early Bronze Age, until early medieval period. And then Sophia second, or number 2, the flame entitled Flash of Light, 1 of Christ consciousness, or digamma, the twin flame energy of the 2 of Cups, where one reflection and 2 offices, 1 hermit and Knight court, the 6 of Wands, or Knight of the Sea, leading the way. And then STEI was coming up, or large stone, or its sharp corner, southeast flash, 1 of leap of faith, 2 of case, reflecting the Knight or Knight of the sea, sea with your eyes, the ocean, or the Christ consciousness victory, the knight leading the way with good news. Remember, the stone is the path of one. The large path of one, or its sharp corner. And again, there's that cog in the wheel. And southeast, flash of light. 1 of leap of faith. 2 of case. And I want to say of course, like Mr. Ed. Reflecting the knight of the sea victory. And who's the knight of the sea but Pegasus? And what's in Pegasus? P and gaseous. The knight of leading the way with good news. So we start with the 7 of Wands reversed on top. And beneath that was the Chariot upright, the 10 of Cups upright, the 4 of Wands reversed, the 6 of Pentacles reversed, the 10 of Wands reversed, the Abundance card upright, which is the Empress, and the 8 of Wands reversed, the Page of Pentacles upright. In a bold move of the 10 of Cups, happy family, but perhaps unstable home or visit, or in a move under the radar, or with bad reputation, dumping burdens, responsibilities for abundance or the mother load, in a heated exchange with the Page of Pentacles, or that could be a child as well, defenseless and hung out to dry, with the Knight of Cups reversed and powerless Page of Cups reversed, present in disconnect or at a distance, moving away from affection, or defenseless lovers, with Cancer and Taurus upright, Pisces or Capricorn upright, and Gemini upright, as the curious student of defense, or lovers with no need for an excuse. As the recent past is the Ace of Wands reversed and the flame put out, the King of Pentacles reversed with a message, and in a twist of fate fell from grace, and that's the way the cookie crumbles. As the foundation is the Ace of Pentacles reversed, withholding or playing hardball, as the Queen of Wands reversed is over it, with an announcement and or wake-up call, or perhaps waking people up in not such a nice way, or maybe somebody woke her up and irritated her. And then on this page, by the way, a fly landed, like a green fly. Like, where the hell did that come from? I don't have any flies in my house. And a green fly landed on my page out of nowhere, and it wouldn't leave. He then climbed on my finger, and then I couldn't write because he was on my hand, and I had to blow him off my finger to make him go so I could finish writing. But yeah, the fly did not want to leave. The central energy here is the Knight of Cups. The 9 of Cups, getting your wish, right? Being satisfied with yourself, with 6 rays of Mary Magdalene, and the Devil upright, with the High Priestess upright, and the Hermit upright. Okay, so you have the Devil, the High Priestess, and the Hermit all upright. And it feels very positive, right? Because that's the Devil represents the shadow side of the High Priestess and the Hermit. And the High Priestess is coming up as Aphrodite, because the Hermit is the other side. Remember I told you the Hermaphrodite is the Hermit and Aphrodite, and here's the Devil coming up with the High Priestess and the Hermit. Swearing in Sister, High Priestess, and Secret Keeper to shed light around codependencies of the High Priestess and or the Hermit. With Capricorn, Pisces, and Virgo all upright, or prisoners on the witness stand, in heated exchange or defenseless and keeping to themselves, the Devil and their Secret Keeper, impure and pure, mediating 2 sides of the same coin. The challenge being reflection, the light versus the light, the sun versus a lamp, right? So 2 different kinds of lights, and who the light shines on, brought to light. An interview of twins, challenged by reflection, the Hermit, Virgo, and painful inability to share. The inequity of the King of Swords reversed, perhaps overworked or, painfully shy, but with a good reputation. And now is the Knight of Pentacles reversed, scolded by the Knight of Swords upright, as Dark Knight makes another offer of kindness, ignored in a losing battle, with the Queen of Cups upright and the Page of Pentacles upright, and the completion of a cycle with the King of Cups reversed, which may be someone who's got conditions. Or the Knight of Pentacles reversed tried to block the Knight of Swords upright messenger from delivering a message, turning away Dark Knight or Scorpio, unable to ground and integrate failure or loss of the Queen of Cups upright with an opportunity, perhaps with Pisces, King of Cups reversed. Traveling, perhaps for a family visit, or unfair inequity of dumping responsibilities on the mother or empress in a heated exchange with the Page of Pentacles, or maybe she's dumping responsibilities on a child. Defenseless with no money to offer or no possibilities offered. The mother upright here, not telling the Page of Pentacles upright, and seeing, but it says sign, seeing no need for excuse, or signing it. Maybe they're not talking, but they're giving them a finger. Frustrated King of Pentacles reverse, strapping or stepping it up to, maybe they're strapping up, but stepping up to cut them off at the pass. As the Queen of Wands reverse, maybe withholding time, money, or effort, and the King of Pentacles reverse, withholding his passions. Or mother and child affections are abusive and waiting for their ship to come in from a distance, making peace with lover, or one with great affection anyway. As the Empress is upright with the Page of Pentacles, the Nine of Pentacles and King of Pentacles both reversed, and the Knight of Pentacles, as the Empress upright may be in disconnect or distance in a sexless marriage, or one without growth, that she's satisfied with, or siblings of the Ten of Pentacles family, business, or community, where the Empress is upright and the Page of Pentacles is upright, but the Nine of Pentacles, King of Pentacles, and Knight of Pentacles are all reversed and perhaps not faring well, or powerless and blocked or dependent. The Empress is fine if the Knight of Pentacles reverse can't make it, or the Hermit upright and higher self blocked. As soon here is the Wheel reversed, perhaps a slowdown or post-war virus or PTSD, and receiving love from the Ten of Cups family in a slowdown or twist of fate, with Patient Angel bridging the Ten of Cups and the Ten of Pentacles both upright here to allow them back in and to hold on tight. Good news about the end of the war comes in from the King of Swords reversed, perhaps Libra reversed, or one with Libra in their chart, with welcoming reception from the Ten of Cups family or patient of the Ten of Pentacles family or business or community upright, who's willing to bring them back in. Where Virgo's seen is the Three of Wands upright in the present moment here, and present to flame, weak, sick, and drained by the Knight of Wands upright, rushing in suddenly out of nowhere. That's my green fly. As the Queen of Swords is upright, unable to sleep, or up with another, feeling weak, and the Nine of Wands wounded warrior, uncomfortable, not being able to leave, in a bold move to juggle, perform another day, the daily grind. As Leo is reversed and Saggy upright, with Scorpio and Cancer upright, a slowdown to shift gears. And there's that cog in the gear. Around the twins, or how they're seen, is the Virgo energy, which is coming to you guys this week. The Two of Cups reversed, Empress in disconnect, frustrated with a marriage, yet self-satisfied, or feeling disconnected from their higher self, or separation where the Empress is frustrated, but the Hierophant is satisfied by themselves, or satisfaction of the higher self between temptation and going within, between motherhood and the institution and societal norms. All three earth signs were coming up here, or represented, and Pisces, and challenged by the higher self and disconnect or at a distance, with their cards kept close to their chest, depressed or arrogant Magician upright, who's up early. He's upright though. Maybe he's just a little bit overly confident there. Up early or all night, or Magician between the stars reversed and the moon reversed, not telling anyone what they're up to. As the Six of Wands is leading the way through injustice and issues at work of lying, cheating, and stealing, or running from the Six of Cups innocent connection, the 5D connection in your sleep or meditation or relaxation, with third-party Queen of Pentacles reversed, split, when exposed fully, unearthed, or weakened by the full attention that she got here, unable to birth in front of the King of Wands watching, comfortably numb and hands tied, implementing a plan to hang out and be wise, to dream and to see synchronicities, to weather the storm and heartache, to be inspired, Page of Wands, once again post-war, or infection with the Queen of Wands reversed, moving and dumping responsibilities on the Knight of Pentacles reversed, who's trying to block them, from the Emperor upright, who's giving them a choice of new path at 141. And there's that one for all and all for one kind of thing. So somebody might be thinking that. Capricorn, Pisces, or Virgo, and Virgo getting their wish of mediation or wisdom and silence, and perhaps a chance to speak between the Queen of Wands reversed and the Knight of Pentacles reversed, going back and forth with the Ace of Wands reversed and the Ace of Pentacles both reversed, challenged by good advice and perhaps blocked by higher self, or one who doesn't want to talk or reveal secrets, right? Wanting to keep to themselves. At 144, perhaps Capricorn says hi and challenged by Pisces and Virgo and slow to gift at a distance or from sister, leading the way or needing to be strong and silent when hanging out post-war with the Queen of Wands reversed. Okay, so that was the message from the table. And then on the 21st, let's see here. It was funny, my daughter's friend Aaliyah came up as Bia. Bia was coming up. So of course I thought of Aaliyah right away. And then the flee, fly, flow. I don't know if you've ever heard that. I learned this at camp when I was little, right? Flee, fly, flow. Vista. Pamalama, kumala, vista. Oh, no, not the vista, vista. Eeny, meeny, dissalini, ua, amalini, acha, kukaracha, ooh. Give me an ish, bibliot, and doten, bobo, but didn't that, and why not, and shh. All right, so that's it. But, and then Pam was coming up in Pamalama, kumalama, and Vista and Fly. I've told you the Fly landed on my page. And Vista obviously is coming up. And I wrote it all out, and I was getting flee, and then F-L-E-A, and then F-L-Y, and then F-L-O-W of flee, fly, flow. The twin flame L-E-A, Y-ow, and then A-O is coming, A-O, A-O. Daylight coming and I want to go home. So L and Ea at the Y in the road. So again, the shadow and the light at the Y in the road as two U's. Daylight coming and I want to go home. And then the gnat showed up, which I haven't seen in forever. And that shows up out of nowhere and literally goes in my left ear, buzzes in my left ear, and then goes around to my right, but didn't buzz in my right ear. Okay. So I had a gnat, which is unforgettable, right? Nat King Cole. Leah and Lightyear, Buzz Lightyear. So Leah could be coming up too as Buzz Lightyear here. But Leah, Lightyear, low, or to lie low, right? That could be someone who's very energetic, is being told to lay low. And then the gnat came in, who's unforgettable. That was at 12:30, which is the hanging man and the union, or the home. So now buzzing in my left ear, and then scouting my right without a buzz. And then I was getting, what's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. Why do you want to know? Don't you mind about the future? Don't you try to think ahead. Save tomorrow for tomorrow. Think about today instead. So that was coming up for you guys. Yeah, and again, the word anomaly had come up. And then I was brought back to Celtic force field again, which is CFF. And the word Celtic, all right? So Celtic, remember the C is the line, so you can flip the C the other way. So Celtic is literally parentheses with LT in the middle, the letters L and T. And the word LT also means something, which will come up in a minute. But for now, it's parentheses with the letters L and T, which is light. So Celtic force field is CFF as well, and was coming up as the sea, the ocean, fast forward, or the waves. The sea light of the inner child, the dagama, or twin flame, seal of the sea. The twin flame, i.e. the logarithm, base 2. The logo is the word, and the rhythm is the rhythm, right? The song, or the poem, the tune, the chant. The symbol and song, the chant. And then again, the energy of Christ was coming up, which is the CH of the 144 and the wrist of the cross. But here also the word RIS was coming up, which is the loop. Again, the loop at the cross. And then CHRIST being compared to chant, which is CHANT, which an is one, but also anu. The energy of the horsepower of the ant, and ant means to cut, throw, expose, and the lynx comes up here too. The 144-1 loop of laughter to rise, vulnerable to climax, spank and bear witness, plus. So again, that energy of the 1111 with the arrow going through it at the crossroads, at the intersection of the 144 that turns the water wheel with a rise in winds, laughing in the face of danger, completely vulnerable to bear witness to the climax of your story. In other words, chant HP1, which the horsepower of 1, which an is also anu, and anu's number is 60, which is the 6 of swords, which is about finding peace, plus at the crossroads, at the intersection, 1441 plus, which is the 4 ones and the bow and arrow of us, to the core of us. So then at 114 to 15, which is the angel and the devil, the energy came up of Mamma Mia, Papa Pia, baby's got a diarrhea. And so what was coming up from that is diarrhea is Rhea, is the mother of Poseidon, or Ea, R-H-E-A, and then dia is 2. So 2 Rheas, which was coming up because there was another definition from Celtic, because E-L-T-I means 2 women married to brothers, or a polygamy marriage. So here was coming up as 2 Rheas, or mothers married to brothers, or in a polygamous marriage. And then Hieros Gamos was coming up. So Gamos and Gamel and Gamosa, all these words were coming up for me to look at. And Herogamy, which is the sex of the gods and goddesses, to guarantee the crop fertility as I'm losing my voice. But this was, right, the Herogamy was BS, because they weren't actually gods. They were ETs of a higher frequency. Okay? As my voice is completely clear now. To engage, let's see here. Gam is also a social gathering of whalers, but also the pod of whales, or pod of porpoises, or ships. This is a gathering to engage in social intercourse anywhere. And again, the energy of meditation, big meditations. Hieros Gamos literally means holy marriage of gods. And this is when I end up going into Ascension Glossary. So I'm not going to give you everything I wrote down from Ascension Glossary, but I would read through it if I were you. The process of Hieros Gamos, because she goes through literally the steps of it. The spirit, the plus, the interdimensional resonator plus bass tone, overtone, and resonant tone amplifier. And I wanted to bring that up because the plus sign and amp were coming up as significant, as you know, because I gave you today's and yesterday's messages already. The polarity integration, the planetary Merkaba shift between the counter-rotating spirals of the masculine and feminine energies, which is what I was talking about. The adjustment to the blueprint of the gender principle of the crystal star template or spiritual marriage with no time. 1 to God, 2 to God, and then the group to God. Marrying all aspects of God, you know, like all the split coming back to 1 again, right? So the 2 then comes back to 4, and then the 4 comes back to the bigger group, etc. So the return to the sacred crystal heart, the spiritual marriage of the mathematical pattern. And she lists 13:13 as the female spin and 12:12 as the male spin. And this was at 144, the end of this page. The return to the crystal star frequency and the 7 sacred suns, the sacred union template between rod and staff function of our light bodies, Merkaba field. And again, this is from Ascension Glossary. I'm just quoting her, or loosely quoting, anyway. So at 144, I got to the 3 levels of sacred marriage, the building of wings, the blue crystal lotus heart, and the Hieros Gamos hydroplasmic liquid light of the 10D, 11D, 12D. So the first one is 60 to 70, the second one is 8 to 90, and the third part is 10, 11, and 12. resonant embodiment, crystal print. But anyway, it goes into details about the different stages, and there's more stages as you go on, which you can read all of that. And again, regarding the Celtic force field, okay, and the 144. So at the end of this, I wrote down mother, father, like Adam and Eve. This is again from her site. In the waters of sex and chastity, unified polarities, quote unquote magnum opus of cosmic consciousness, where the word hermaphrodite doesn't mean sexless. It means Hermes and Aphrodite, where Mercury is Hermes, uniting with the goddess of love, Aphrodite Venus, the aeonic pair of Christos Sophia, the union of Mercury and Venus, of the god and goddess, as the perfect whole being of balance and union between masculine and feminine, united as one, 3, 6, 9, 12. Okay, and that's from her site. So the Julian and Gregorian calendars are also coming up here, and then the J of Julius, it was changed because of Julius Caesar to honor his death, and the J again being confirmed here again, that the J is representing the arc grounded, right? Like the 3 prongs of the plug, right? The grounding plug. So the I is the 2 dots and the arc between, and the J is the grounding of that. All right, so again, on the 21st, I was reviewing the 1111 with the arrow going through it, and the 4 moons were coming up. There's one card that has the 4 moons reflecting on it, was coming up, and the bow and arrow through it, through that suspended animation tunnel, which is just the portal. And again, the energy of the bow and arrow of the letter 4 pointed, right? The pointed 4, like this one right here. And also that represents, right, the cross in the middle of the circle, but also the number 4 representing the 4th quarter, because it brings a line down across the 4th quarter of the circle. The Christed or Christ to Ed of horsepower at the crossroads, the rise to the top. The 144 turns of 4 quarters each rotation, where 144 divided by 4 is 36, like 360 degrees, but 36 full turns. 360 degrees of the full spin in 90-degree shifts, or 9-year shifts of 36 years, or 90 days of 360, or 3 months of a year, or 4 seasons a year. 144 is also, in 4 years is 1440 days, and again representing, you know, it's not complete, right, because you have the leap year days in between, which ends up, if you talk about 360-day years, you're going to have 3 weeks left over at the end, which is 21 days, or completion to transition. But it's like a 4-year period, and then 3 weeks makes up for the leap year instead of the way we do it. And again, the energy of the quarter of the circle, right? If you take a sphere and cut it in quarters like a piece of cake, but it's spherical like a ball, if you cut a ball in 4 quarters. And then you have, it comes up as the shape of like a boat, you know, like this, or an ice cream cone upside down the other way, okay? And the 90 degrees of phased array was coming in, again, like the sun's rays reaching out, and I always talk about the womb being, instead of the light bulb, the life bulb, which responds in phased arrays out to the sun as the feminine energy. The 4 ships and the 4 moons with suspended animation and 90 degrees of phased array, and animation being on, I am at the connection. So on, Anu is coming up. And again, the 1111 with the 5th ether being the whole set, the arrow running through it completes the set. 4 of 360-degree moons, and 4 quarter horses. The 4th quarter all amped up. And again, amp has to do with like an amp that's really loud, but it also has to do with amplitude of height. So noise and height of the frequency. The resonator plus the bass tone, the overtone, and the resonance tone of the amplifier. The 3-part harmony of the 2 circles with the plus signs in the middle, or 2 wheels to come, you know, turning bidirectionally and that click in corner shifts like gears. 9 years of 4 parts a year equals 36 parts of 0 point, the human embodiment of source. And it's, yeah, very interesting the way that was coming up. And then the number of days that would be. So I looked up 9 years since 2015 to now, which would include 3 leap years. So it's literally 3,288 days. And I looked that up in Gematria, and the first entry was 2023. And then the next one was 2023 with no spaces between. So literally, if you write the number 20 and then 3, it's still 2023 because it's 2020 plus 3 is 2023. And it was interesting because the amount of hits in Gematria for that top one was 2967 and the second one was 967. So exactly the same number except for the 2000. And then 67 came up a few more times, I believe. The third entry was hear your name in certain circles, and it always makes me smile. The fifth entry was the Gulf of Aden Stargate, magnetic vortex is activated. The seventh entry was, and this was after 423, which is the Emperor and the King of Wands. Just peace and security would be good. Number 12 was Pentecost Sunday. So again, the Mana Sunday that I was just talking to you about, the 15th. And then 2-2, which is the Fool, right? We're going from the Wounded Warrior's path to the Fool's Leap of Faith. And then the 15th entry was QC, or the Queen of Cups. I love her forever, always. 25 was download only until tomorrow, which was on the 21st. So this was saying download only until the 22nd, which was yesterday. And Sunday again. So a week from Mana. And now today is a week to the 30th. The 26th was Jesus and Mary are alive forever. 28 was you were the first one and you are the last one. Number 44 was Isaiah chapter 42 verse 13. And 49 was I am 74 inches tall, aka 6'2", or 72 inches plus 2. And 72 is half of 144, by the way. This also 17, I looked in the section below that, and the 17th entry below that section was Master Codes 4444, his communication. And then 18 was decode 0, written 8 times. And 8 zeros was coming up as, again, the two sets of 4 moons. Again, the suspended animation portal, but 2 of them together, right? So like twin bridges of bridges in suspended animation, like the portals. And then 43 came up Ace of Hearts, 3 of Hearts, 2 of Spades, and 3 of Diamonds. So the Ace of Cups, which is new love and spiritual love and self-love. And then the joy of coming together. And the 2 of Swords, the knowing of peace of mind. And then the 3 of Pentacles of working to create and co-creating. I looked up Isaiah 42:13, which is the Lord will go forth like a warrior. He will stir up his zeal like a man of war or soldier, and warrior, the wounded warrior is coming up. He will shout out. He roars. Yes, he will raise the war cry. He will prevail mighty against his enemies. And 42 and 13 is the 2 of Cups and the Death card, which we talked about 13 being the letter B as well. So it's to be or not to be, the 2 of Cups. Right? It's nothing about war. It has to be whether you choose to be or not to be. And then in Isaiah is AIA, which literally means lady in wait, which is the Kuwait is K-U wait, the lady in wait. And AIA is G-A-I-A. G, lady in wait at Kuwait, at the place of which is his place. Is lady in wait, 1-to-1. 2 of Cups in the dark night, looking death in the face. And then I'd written down 444 again here. So 444 just came up twice. And that is about all of, oh, here we go. Here's my message of the day. from the 21st, which I didn't give you yet. All right, let's see where my picture is. And this is from the Journey of Love, the Shaman deck, Metatron. And Rider, this one here, right? Is that right? Journey, Shaman, yep. All right, so here's the picture of the message. So the left side is the underlying energies. I pull 3 cards, and then any extra cards that want to come out organically, I use for numerology and to finish the message, okay? So Journey of Love, the Shaman deck, the Metatron deck, and the Rider deck there. Okay, so this was, all the cards at the end of the decks first came out 1111, which is in Gematria. The first entry is Twin Flame. And then 1644 also came up. So the messages from this, and these were pulled from 938 to 943, 38, 39, 41, and 43 for the 4 decks. The Twin Flame, Sudden Harvest, the Tower of Hercules, and the 4 of Cups. The 4 Wands, and the 5th one completes the set as the Lover's 44 Force. And notice force is more than 1 4, fours. The energy of November 6th, 44 also came up here. And 0.41666 forever. And then Pi with 11/6/44, which was a Monday and a leap year. And actually 11/6, not 44, obviously, but my father passed away in 16 on November 6th. So Sunday, 11/5/1944 in the Philippines, they took me back. I just looked for on this day for the 6th. So the day before that in the Philippines, 3 groups of U.S. task forces. It's called Task Force, as I told you, Celtic Light Force was coming up, or Force, whatever I said. The U.S. Task Force 38 come up, and 38 is the Queen of Cups, with Admiral McCain, to strike Japanese targets on Luzon and in the nearby waters. In Greece, the British forces, or fours, land at Salonika, and then Monday on the 6th, 1944, in Yugoslavia, Tito partisan forces enter Monastir, now control most of the Greek-Yugoslavian border. And on the Western Front, attacks by Canadian forces, 2nd Corps on Walcheren, result in capture of Middelburg. And in Egypt, in Cairo, Lord Moyne, British resident minister in the Middle East, dies shot by Zionist terrorists. The assassins, and their names here, and you can look this up on this day, were in their early 20s, are members of the Stern Gang, then under the control of Yitzhak Shamir. And then on 11/7 was Roosevelt's election, his unprecedented 4th term, and there's that 4 again, that 4th part again, and won by 53%. So the underlying energy there, and I have to say that my father, because he grew up in the war, he was 17, so he would have been in England under the pretenses that I just described to you, in England. He was 17 years old. So at 10:21 p.m., the underlying energy was the 47 of Soft, 18 of Eyes of the Eagle, 22 of Archangel Sandalphon, and 3 of Cups reversed, 43. 7 of Cups softened to synchronicities as Eyes of the Eagle, 360 degrees of the moon, as Archangel Sandalphon, who's with you now, romance of Fool at the 5D station with third party or bad influences or friendly gathering. Perhaps that went short. The underlying energy of the heart fire, number 1, 36 of the cosmic butterfly and 47 soft. The magician comes through the heart. Atlas cosmic transformation and the map of the mother's heart with heaven in her eyes. The 15 of the mother praise and 21 that she is the moon. Of Capricorn and Pisces and dark mother and daughter moon. Shadow world, mother's little girl. And the 41 of the Ace of Cups of knowing without knowing. Of Mary Magdalene carrying the weight of the world, and the 68 of the Page of Pentacles dropping into your heart, the child, the student offering love. The 25 of the Garden of Venus, the 1 of the tidy house, and the 18 of the Eyes of the Eagle, and the Knight of Wands of rest and renewal in the garden, and the magician's tidy house that's very organized, the eagle's eye rising above the fray, under the magic moon, the garden and the house on the hill, the Cancer eagle spying around the perimeter. And the stranger and leave this world behind both came up that day. And I noticed on leave the world behind, on the ship that came into the beach, it was called the White Lion. The White Lion. And they were getting all these notices dropped, but they were in different languages to confuse everybody from about who was actually coming in and attacking. The 26 of gathering around, and the Queen of Cups 38 of the many masks, of the Page of Wands and the Queen of Cups powers of community and authentic self. The 64 of woodwives and the 20 of fears or feast of plenty. The adaptability and choices and their consequences. The 10 of swords and judgment and working around the tree and sharing when needed. The 34 of the 8 of Wands, lay of the land, the King of the hill, and the 52 Queen of Swords, straddling worlds, wandering between realms. The Page of Wands and Queen of Cups in judgment of energetic exchange with the Queen of Swords. Perhaps young boy feels on top of the world, and 19 Sun, the falling angel of spiritual narcolepsy, or like an angel fell out of the sky. The 59 wailing tree, reconciliations with the 5 of Swords, war within, and the 46 root girl. The 6 of Cups of the innocent children, and the disowned self. So it's like the mother tree having the war within, while the daughter was stunted growth or short on water. As the underlying energy of the 19 sun fire, the dragon's strength, and the 31 of transformation, the 22 of Archangel Sandalphon, the dragon sun causing conflict and transformation with a leap of faith, the 5D station and Archangel Sandalphon, who's with you now, to calm you. So you might want to call on Sandalphon when you want to feel calm. He's very creative and sweet. The 43 of healing, the pause to receive, while not coming together, go within. The 54 of the Page of Swords that we brought up in the beginning, and the lilac of higher realms and magic. The 46 and 30 of the 6 of Cups and 4 of Wands, and who are you, authentic self, with silver and the warrior of light, and liquid silver, look at that. The Page of Swords of liquid silver, warrior of light, the kid's home, and in the keyhole by day, defending at night. The 18 of the moon of Mother Earth, and the 51 of King of Swords, white. And there's the white ship I just told you, the White Lion. The 35 of the 9 of Wands, Kundalini. The sun at the fool's back, with no coming together, with the Page of Swords, or message, wanting to get the kids home. As the field gets cold with the King of Swords. The wounded warrior, as the Kundalini rises, where angels fear to tread. The 3 of Cups is reversed here. After the Queen of Pentacles reversed, the Ace of Swords upright, the Page of Pentacles upright, the 6 of Wands reversed, and the 9 of Cups upright, just like in the middle of that read on the table. Ungrounded Queen of Pentacles reversed, with the whole truth for the Page of Pentacles. Perhaps mother to child, who's under the radar, is satisfied with themselves, receiving love as the Ace of Cups and the Ace of Wands, both upright here, from the Angel or Sagittarius, Page of Wands reversed and Queen of Cups upright, overworked, with the Knight of Swords upright running in to make an announcement that may be harsh, or an Aquarius from the past who got burned or is drained or is in need of vacation, or their vacation was spoiled by having to come in, or kids out of control. As the King of Pentacles reversed is assessing worth and stressed out, defenseless to an attack, when on the losing end, now that the worst is over, with the King of Wands upright, feeling bad about the drama, or after a sudden event in the downfall of society and or finding peace by the water, the King of Wands upright and the 9 of Wands reversed, surrendering with justice of illusions, of choices, of synchronicities, and choices to be made. The Page of Cups reversed and the 9 of Pentacles reversed, or a dependent, vulnerable child, released to the 10 of Pentacles, family, business, or community in need of strength, with subconscious energies bubbling up at 1144, which is justice, and the 4 of Cups, which is grounding and integrating, boredom, or Hercules, her harvest. With Leo and Cancer both reversed, the Fool upright, freed from deception or a mystery here, letting go, dropping the facade with issues at work, and the Empress reversed, an energetic exchange or just lots of energy, busyness, or arrows of love with the Eight of Wands upright and the Six of Pentacles upright, and sharing and feeling charitable with the world upside down, or perhaps another world, the 5D world, and a need for closure. Done weathering the storm with the Ten of Cups family and the Four of Cups with the Page of Swords reversed, grounding and integrating bad news or a negative noise, at war or facing fears and exhausted. As the Ace of Pentacles is upright, offering to the Seven of Swords, liar, cheater, or thief, running from the Queen of Swords reversed, or paid to steal or get information from the Queen of Swords reversed. And I was just getting the barge that came in that had issues. I don't know how long ago that was already. Was it a couple months ago? They came into the U.S., or they couldn't get across the bridge. I forget what happened. Okay. But anyway, that is coming up here. The Queen of Swords, I'm getting this energy of Queen of Swords as Lady Liberty, as the U.S., or paid to steal or get information from the Queen of Swords reversed, High Priestess, Secret Keeper, for the King of Cups reversed, right, who could be very detached emotionally or over-emotional and manipulative, in a bold move with Pisces or Virgo and Cancer all upright, as the Four of Pentacles, who could be the Divine Masculine, keeping their cards close to their chest, with the Devil reversed present and the Knight of Pentacles reversed, blocking, and detoxing the Knight of Pentacles reversed, or Capricorn and Aquarius both reversed here, unable to function, and depressed Queen of Wands with Hermit to shed light, or Virgo, who's uncomfortable in the emotions here of not being able to walk away, or trapped with the Six of Cups reversed, which can be a negative past, or children who are acting up and being stuck with them, or a falling out in the past, bad memories, burden, Two of Swords reversed, with clarity here but knocked off balance and no peace of mind, or clearly loved by the Emperor upright, with Gemini and Aries both upright, hanging out, trying to see another way, with unhappy visitors or bad influences around. As the Knight of Cups is upright, Magician reversed, the Four of Swords reversed, and the Two of Cups reversed, with the Five of Pentacles reversed, the Wheel upright, and the Four of Wands upright, the Knight of Cups could be offering love to an insecure one, rising above the need to disconnect, or just not seeing eye to eye, and recovering from being out in the cold or in exile or injured or ill, and destined to come home, or farewells here. And there's definitely a welcoming, because they're either really happy that you're coming or really happy that you're leaving, because it's a very positive energy right there. And that ended right at midnight. Yep. So that's everything I have for you. And I'm going to pull a card for you. I pulled the animal cards for you, and I pulled those. So I'm going to... Let me see if I have the book here. Yeah, I'm going to pull a card from the Inner Child deck for you guys. I have the book here. I want to see too, this alchemy symbol, Libra. I just wrote it down. Let me see where I put it. Here. I have the right place. I'm just trying to locate it. Oh, it's sublimation. So the Libra symbol here in alchemy is sublimation. So here's a subliminal energy between messages. Oh, so it's saying the words not spoken in the space between. Pick up on the subliminal messages from the Hermit or me. And again, the liquid silver is the strong water, and the one that melts gold is the royal water. And that was coming up as the child, as gold of youth, and the liquid silver of the wise one, the hermit. Right? So the ancient ones and the new ones. Okay, so from the inner child deck, what is our closing message here for the best and highest good of all those concerned? The inner child, there we go. Practice freedom. The 26, which is the Page of Wands, who's inspired and excited. Release the weight of judgment. 26 for me is also Newton's cradle. And this card also wants to come out. You can do hard things. And there's that sailboat where you can't see the boat underneath the clouds. It's not as impossible as it may feel. So practice freedom. And then you won't feel so bogged down by things that you're thinking are harder than they are. The underlying energy of a time to remember, look back at your childhood. There may be something to see right there. And then this third card wants to come out as well. 32, set boundaries. Claim your power and know your value today. You see that picture? 41 is the Ace of Cups, and 32 is the Six of Wands, right? Bringing in the good news at the end of the war. You can sail right through this. I can't tell like which I mean the beak is up that way, but when I'm looking at it, I couldn't tell which end is up. So there's something about that. Can't tell which end is up. Practice freedom, right? Not having a judgment on either side. And love yourself first. You can sail right through this. You can do hard things. And you can set boundaries as well. So practice freedom and practice boundaries. And you can sail right through. And I'm getting hands across the water, heads across the sky. They wanted me to do that because I guess they want me to bring up the octaves. Right? Practice all the different octaves that you are. The Page of Wands is inspired to love themselves by bringing good news, but also setting boundaries. And you can set boundaries by bringing in the news that you want to bring. And just feel into those energies, whatever it brings to you. And we're going to read Practice Freedom. Oh, what number was that? 26, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay, the book says, I guess I have exercise. I don't usually use the book, so this is new for me too. Judgments that we or others have placed upon ourselves can shackle us, stealing our joy and will to fully embody our life. It is a heavy burden to carry the weight of judgment, and it can keep us trapped in a cycle of fear and blame. If you've pulled this card, it might be time to consider whether you're being held prisoner by judgments. And they give you an inner work exercise, which says, take some time today to reflect on the beliefs that you hold about yourself or your inner child. Write down as many core beliefs as you can, and then review your statements for signs and patterns of judgmental beliefs. A good way to do this is to speak these statements out loud and then focus on the feeling and sensations you experience afterward. On a separate page, write down all of the statements that did not leave you feeling empowered and hopeful. Now is the time to dig a little deeper. Where do these beliefs come from? Why do you believe this is true about yourself or your inner child? If you release those beliefs, are you afraid something might happen? Are parts of your identity built around these beliefs? Answering these questions can help you understand where these judgments or judgmental beliefs came from and why they might have been hesitant to go. Now is the time to counter them. Write down the opposite statements to these judgmental beliefs. Say them out loud and see how you feel. Do you feel empowered, hopeful, or full? And if so, then there is truth there that needs to be spoken. And then it says responsive journaling prompt. How does it feel to speak words of truth and freedom over yourself now? So that's the exercise for that one. I still feel the need. I want to pull a heart card. I still feel the need to pull a card. So I'm going to pull a card from the heart deck here. My loving heart deck. Okay, one more card. I will be doing a Virgo read too, so I'm not sure what day I'll be doing it. Not today, but this week for sure. Oh, that came right up. So these two cards, the bottom of the deck is, you may not always understand why certain things happen. However, there's always a higher purpose to the events in your life. Through turmoil, a blessing will soon be revealed. And you got, how many? 4 of them came up. Healing, imagine yourself and your beloved surrounded by light. Feel your relationship being healed this very moment. Okay. Emotions are a natural and necessary part of life, but they can also distort your perception and cloud your vision. In order to see things clearly, you must let go of resentment. And then here's the picture of that one. Okay. And then when it comes to matters of the heart, there's no right or wrong. Every choice you make expands your understanding of life and love. And finally, criticizing one another will only lead to further unhappiness. Love and accept each other as you are, and your relationship will magically transform. That's a beautiful ending. Very practical advice. And I want to show you those pictures all together so you can see them together. If I can get it together here, okay? Okay, so very loving energies there of working to heal each other, right? Doing reflection exercises, loving exercises, just holding each other and just enjoying nature. So very beautiful energies there. Okay, guys, I hope you got something out of this. And if not, maybe you will next time. And I'll definitely be doing Virgo in the next couple of days. So remember your water, your rest, your joy, your mana, joya, and make sure to get some nature, especially if it's starting to get colder. Take advantage of being outside as much as you can. And rise and be love. I'll see you next time. It's 5:43 on the clock. Bye.